Hello, I'm Nathan Whitkin, and this is When to Use Co-Resolution, cooperating with confidence using a cutting-edge negotiation process. First of all, what is co-resolution? Co-resolution is a facilitated negotiation process, kind of like mediation, except unlike mediation, where you have one impartial neutral, in co-resolution you have two cooperative coaches, and each coach helps one disputant to communicate and negotiate at the negotiation table. And these coaches work together as a team to help the parties reach resolution. And what makes co-resolution different? So co-resolution is the only negotiation process where both sides get personal assistance at the negotiating table on reliably cooperating, negotiating cooperatively. It's the only process where you get to choose both coaches together, and this is one reason why they're both cooperative. And it's the only process where you can fire the other side's coach and your own coach by simply walking away. So, because both coaches work together, they have an ongoing incentive to be cooperative, and because they can be fired if their own disputant feels uncomfortable, what you get uniquely in this process is a team of loyal yet cooperative negotiation coaches. And that is the particular benefit of co resolution. So, co resolution is optimal for these reasons in cases where there is mistrust, need for assistance, and a desire to cooperate. So, if you want to cooperate, but it's going to be very difficult, then co resolution is a great process. Now, it could be overkill in a case that is able to be resolved with one single mediator. But there are many difficult cases, which is why co resolution is certainly a useful tool to have in your toolkit. So, how does co resolution work? Let's say you have party A and party B here. In co resolution, each party, each disputant will get a co resolver A and co resolver B. And so these coaches have an ongoing relationship. They work together exclusively. And because of this, they are not going to want to endanger their working relationship to act deceptively or to lie or to be combative in any particular negotiation. So they're going to have an ongoing incentive to cooperate. And then during the process, each provides negotiating assistance and coaching to their respective parties they're sitting next to at the negotiation table. And then also at the negotiation table, each co-resolver acts like a mediator across the table to the other side. So you will, as a co-resolver, conciliate the other side as a mediator would, and together as a coordinated team, the co-resolvers will facilitate a resolution similarly to what one mediator would do. So you have two coaches and one mediator kind of wrapped up in these two co-resolver roles. This is the process of co-resolution. And one important thing you can see here is that because the coaches work together, they have an ongoing incentive to cooperate. But because you, as let's say party A, if you know that party B is going to do better in the negotiation by listening to their cooperative coach, you know it's in the other side's best interest to cooperate. And this is something you really can't have in any other negotiation process. So why is this important? So advocacy in negotiation is sometimes a very valuable thing because negotiating isn't easy. Disputants need help in communicating and how to structure offers, and co-resolution offers each side a professional negotiation coach. And at least in my experience, people overcome fight or flight responses when they have the safety of a supportive advocate. So co-resolution tends to get to a resolution in a much smoother, much more comfortable way. And therefore, there's real value in having negotiation professionals to help both sides of a dispute to reliably cooperate. And I'd argue that this wasn't really uh, an option before co-resolution. And the reason for this is the pitfalls of advocacy. So let's say you want your coach and the other side's coach, or your advocate and the other side's advocate, to be cooperative, to be amicable, to be able to trust each other and to resolve things in a way that is fair to both sides. You can't currently do this without co-resolution because in a typical process, you don't pick the other side's coach. And because you don't pick the other side's coach, you could get into a situation where the other side chooses a combative coach or advocate, someone who's going to try to do deceptive negotiation tactics, combative bullying tactics, uh, things that are going to try to get an advantage over your side. And this is what's described here is a bad negotiating dynamic, because the advocate that is being open and trusting and cooperative is going to get taken advantage of by the side that's being more guarded with information, that is going to try to lie, cheat, and steal to get an advantage. So this is a bad and unethical situation for any advocate to end up in, which is why you don't have people offering cooperative negotiation advocacy out there, because they're going to end up working across from someone who's combative, or across from an attorney who is going to use their knowledge of the law to also get an advantage. Uh, so your incentives, because you know that the other side could choose a combative advocate, are also to get a combative advocate in a typical situation where both sides choose their own advocate separately. So the question of when is co-resolution useful for you? Co-resolution is useful when you want a reliably cooperative negotiation. It's not what you want when you want a combative negotiation. Now, there are some people out there who want their negotiation to be combative. Uh, Now, I would argue that, at least uh, from my experience, people tend to overvalue their own positions and their own cases, because that's what you're living in and that's what you see, and you don't see the strengths of the other side's case. So a lot of people think that they want this combative negotiation, but really their interests are better served with the more cooperative, collaborative negotiation. And co-resolution is able to match that desire with two coaches that are going to make sure that the negotiation continues to be cooperative. So how do you know that the coaches are going to cooperate? These coaches, they work together on an ongoing basis. They have worked together in the past. They intend to work together in the future. And because of that, not only do they build up trust by working together in the past, if they know they're working together in the future, they're not going to try to gain some kind of advantage by being unfair in this particular case. So their relationship ends up serving as a guideposts around their behaviors to make sure that they don't do anything that would violate their working relationship. And so this is like having a container around two negotiators that really causes them to really try to protect their ongoing relationship. So it gives the disputants the benefit of having two coaches that are going to try to help them be cooperative. And so this container is a very large part of what co-resolution offers. So the flip side of this is, if they're going to be so cooperative, how do I know that my coach is going to be loyal to me? And the answer to that is, this is a negotiation based process, which means that unlike going to court with attorneys, because it's a co-resolution's a negotiation process, either party can fire their own coach and the other side's coach just by walking away. So uh, if both coaches gang up on one side, that side can leave the process and it terminates both coaches. So because of this, each coach is going to focus on making sure that their disputant feels as supported as possible. So who can do co-resolution? I would argue that any two mediation trained negotiation professionals can offer co-resolution. So for example, attorneys. If you're an attorney and you know another attorney you work with that has a similar negotiating style as you, there may be cases that you will want to do co-resolution instead of litigation because they're going to be big emotions in the case, or there's really not a set of facts that merit litigation. So co-resolution is something that attorneys could offer as one of the many services they offer to clients. Also, mental health professionals, especially marriage and family therapists. There can be cases where uh, two therapists working in the same office will each be helping one member of a family, and they could use co-resolution to be able to have these difficult conversations and facilitate those, using the fact that they will continue to work together to allow the family members to have these very difficult conversations. Also, human resource professionals. If you're in an office that has more than one HR professional, then these professionals can use co-resolution to resolve workplace disputes. There could be, some workplace disputes that only need one mediator, but if you have two HR professionals, they know that they're going to be working together in the future. I mean, that's their job. Then you can use co-resolution in workplace disputes. And then finally, conflict coaches and parent coaches. This role already prepares people to be able to negotiate, but through co-resolution, a conflict coach or parent coach can actually sit with their disputant at the negotiation table and help them negotiate and communicate with the other side. So this has been When to Use Co-Resolution. I hope it's been useful for you. I'm Nate Whitkin, the Outside Innovation Institute, and I hope to see you again.